Here we are again, looking at Module 30 for our Macroeconomics Unit 6. Nice part is we only have Unit 6 and Unit 7 to go because Unit 8 looks like they're taking off the test. So as you're looking at Unit 6, not too much in here in regards to new stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's sort of repeated. So as you look at this one in particular, budget balance. So as you look at the budget balance, we're talking about looking at, hey, this is where the government kind of spends its money. These are the big things in this pie. If you think about trying to get rid of certain items, to try to get your budget back in line, those are the big ones that you're going to have to knock down. So Medicare, Medicaid, national defense, education, Social Security, those are all the big ones, and it's tough because those are really important to somebody. As you look at the budget balance as a measure of your fiscal policy, just remember in this one that government spending has a much greater impact than taxes or transfers. If you're looking at doing something like cutting taxes or reducing transfer payments, etc., the money multiplier isn't going to be as great as if you were doing something like cutting spending or spending more. The money multiplier just works in a greater capacity in that regard. If you're looking at how we can relate to fiscal policy, in this case, we're looking at, hey, case one on the left, there's a recessionary gap. You can go through expansionary fiscal policy, things that you can do to fix that problem. If you're looking at case two over there, there's your inflationary gap issues, right? Things that you can do to try and alleviate some of that, spending, etc. So as you look at those two concepts, those are just examples of things that you've done before, trying to get through like fixing whatever problem the government has right now. The business cycle and your cyclically adjusted budget balance, you can look at these graphs. It's interesting to see, but not surprising. When we have something going on in the business cycle that's bad, we typically have something like, ooh, maybe not as much money. When we have things that are going well, we're usually on the upturn on your business cycle, and those tend to match up. This one is the business cycle and cyclically adjusted budget balances. You can look at that one too. Should the budget be balanced? That's a great question. The answer is it depends. If you're looking at good times, then I would say, yeah, try to balance the budget as best you can. In times that are good, you should be doing something like pulling back and trying to maybe take some more in taxes and be able to have that kind of dollar amount paid off of your debts, etc. That also saves you for when times are bad. Then you can use some fiscal policy to let loose, do some spending, do some things like maybe lowering your interest rates, etc. There's things that you can do in there that you can't do if you don't have that ability. Like if you're already at zero, it's hard to cut below zero, for example. As you're looking at this is your national debt clock, and you can kind of see some of that stuff. Some things in there are super interesting. We've done that before. Look and see how much you owe. Look and see how much the government owes. Look and see how much like the big spenders are in terms of Medicare, Medicaid, etc. National defense is up there, and now interest on the national debt is up there. So that's a big one too. Problems posed by rising government debt. When the government decides to compete with that private sector, we do that crowding out effect. And as that crowding out happens, just remember that means that businesses aren't able to maybe borrow as much as they would have liked to because the government is doing the borrowing, or the government is taking that money and driving up some of those rates. Skipping that one. If you're looking at some sort of implicit liabilities, they're spending promises that you've made. If you're a new president, you've inherited. Things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, those are definitely programs that are ones that just, boy, those are entrenched programs. Very difficult to touch any of those things, especially because old people vote and old people deal with those programs. When you're looking at that aging population, those things are going to become even more expensive unless we have something that happens where the aging population isn't with us anymore. That might balance it out a little bit. But for right now, we're definitely seeing those programs in place and needed. This is what I'd like you to do for this section. So you go to this website, thefiscalship.org. When you click on here, you're going to pull up this thing that looks like this. It's got a little ship on here. When you go through, you're going to make a new game. And then what you have to do is you have to have some goals for yourself. And when you have goals for yourself, those goals are going to be things like maybe you want to save the environment, or maybe you want to make sure that you have defense as your highest priority. So you're going to start a new game in here, and as you start that, you got to type in some sort of cog. How about KDog? There you go. And then you play the game, and then when you do it, you're going to see let's get started. You can choose your own goals from down here, or you can just say give me some goals and try to make it happen. So I have fiscal hawk, tax cutter, and shrink government. So now my goal is to try to do those 3 things. So now if I play the game, when you go through, all of these things like other taxes are going to be ones that you can see. When you look on there, you can click on other taxes. Then it's going to say, hey, when I look at this as a policy, I can explain the policy. Here's the arguments for the policy. Here are the arguments against the policy. And then you can say, I choose that policy. When you choose the policy, you will see this line up here. And that line is going to be the ship. And you got to get that ship back to 2045 and this dash line to be on target. So if I choose this one, you can see that the debt has come down right here, but my ship is still sinking. At the same time, I didn't do anything to have any of my goals, so I didn't tax cut. Oh, I was a little positive on the fiscal hawk side. When you do something awesome, these stars will light up. Your goal today, light up all the stars and get us out of debt. Screenshot your photo of that happening, and then write me a paragraph explaining what you did to make that happen. All right, that's it for now. Thanks and bye.